Hello and welcome to Synergy Bonus. I'm SpoonyPaladin, and today I'm going to talk to you about a game that came out relatively recently on August 30th for the Nintendo Switch and PC. It's called The Messenger. Before I get into that, though, I do want to take a minute to kind of let you know what's been going on here. We actually have a backlog of videos that just haven't been edited yet. The last couple months have been really rough for me in particular. My buddy said if I was a person in Crusader Kings, I would be dead by now. I broke my finger and my foot back in July, and actually in August I had a wedding I had to go to, and I also caught pneumonia. So it's been kind of rough. I haven't really felt like editing, but you know, I'm getting back into the swing of things, and hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more from us. But now onto the meat and potatoes of this. The Messenger, like I said, Switch, PC, August 30th, 2018, developed by Sabotage Studios and published by Devolver Digital. It's a platformer along the lines of a Ninja Gaiden and Metroidvania style game. It's 8-bit and 16-bit, and I'll go into that, and it's done very wonderfully. The story takes place... It doesn't actually give me a time frame, but I'm going to guess it's feudal time. But then time is all over the place in this game. But a demon army attacks a young ninja's village, and he's given a scroll by this person known as the Hero from the West. And he's told to take the scroll to the top of a mountain, and his role as the messenger will be done. And that's pretty much the simplest part of the story. It actually gets really interesting with time travel. Now, as you go along, you meet this person in a different dimension. I've just called him the shopkeeper. He's one of these blue robe people. There's a few of them. And he breaks the fourth wall a little bit, and it's okay. It's welcome. It's not too over the top. But he aids you on your quest to deliver the scroll, and he gives you abilities that you can purchase with these gems and whatnot. And you meet all these different zany characters along. I wouldn't say actually zany characters, but unique. They are unique. Yeah, it's pretty simple in terms of story. It's got its plot twists, and it was very enjoyable. This game, it controls tight. It does what you want it to do for the most part. There's an ability where if you jump and you jump again, you float. There was a particular boss fight where you had to use this mechanic, and then there's another mechanic called a cloud jump, where if you jump and hit something, you'll have a little cloud beneath and you can jump again. And you kind of have to use the float ability and the cloud jump ability to stay off the ground because it's electrified. And I wish that I could just jump and hold the jump button to float instead of having to press it again to float. And then you have to let go of it and then hit the jump button again to jump. And it made for some really tricky acrobatics in this fight. I did get it, but it took a few tries. It was a little frustrating. When you die in this game, it feels justified. You pretty much get the mechanics of the game down real quick. For example, you'll also get... what is it? I'm going to go into the gameplay here along with the control. Like I said, you get the glide, but you also get a grappling hook. And you can grapple onto enemies, grapple onto walls, grapple onto candles and hooks and whatnot. And when you do this, you can actually jump again because it acts like you hit it, so you can do a cloud jump. There was a particular section of the game, actually towards the end of the game, where you're being chased by this giant thing. And you can't fight it. You just have to run. And I was using the grappling hook to get through because it gives you a little speed boost. And what ended up happening, I kept getting killed by this thing because it's a one-hit kill. I forgot that I could grapple onto enemies, and that really, really helped me out. You also get ninja stars, which I kind of forgot were there some of the time. You only get like 3 or 4 of them. You can upgrade them to, I think, 5. But they do enough damage. Sorry if you heard that, my cat is going crazy. But they do enough damage, like 1 or 2 ticks, I'd say. It kills certain enemies one shot. That's nice for a distant thing. The game is very difficult. I died a lot. Death is handled kind of like Shovel Knight was, where if you died, you would lose some of your gold or your whatever your currency is. Same thing happens here. This little demon guy pops out. He's like, hey, I stopped you from dying, so I'm going to bring you back now, but I'm going to take a chunk of your money. Basically, you can't collect anything until he either gets bored or collects enough money from you, and then he'll just go away. Which, early on, it's kind of frustrating, especially when you're trying to get new abilities. There's actually an ability that cuts his fee in half, and I wish I would have gotten that early on, because I could have kind of gotten the other abilities much quicker then. Bosses, they're big and colorful and very unique. This has the old school thing when they're dying and they start to flash, so if you're doing good, you know it. Bosses also change, well, some bosses actually change their attack pattern halfway through. It keeps the fights fresh, so it's not just spamming them with your ninja sword. Now, another gameplay element here is time travel, as I was mentioning. It's kind of neat because you go from 8-bit to 16-bit, and it's almost actually, it is very seamless. There's little either like circle portal areas or little just lines where you walk through it and all of a sudden it's just a different time period. It's the same level, but it opens up things, it closes things off, gets you new routes. It works very well. I'm glad there's no load screen or anything. It's just all very instant. And it's cool because it does go from that 8-bit to 16-bit or 16-bit to 8-bit. And your sprite reflects this, the maps reflect this, the music reflects this. The music in this game is absolutely phenomenal. The 8-bit tracks sound great. 16-bit does sound great, but my problem is I know they use the Sega sound set. Like that Genesis, it has that just awful, I don't even know. It's just, you know what I mean. If you played the Sega games and they weren't necessarily like a Sonic game or like one of those mainstream games, it just has that weird ass sound to it. I don't know. I was not a fan of it on the Sega. It's okay here. I was kind of hoping they went for a Super Nintendo aspect, but yeah, you jump back and forth through time, and it's different. It's good. This game, I pretty much played it beginning to end, just taking little breaks here and there because, again, I was sick. I had to rest a lot, but it kept me going. Like, it really did. Like, I put it down for a bit, and I'd think about it. I'm like, I want to go back and play The Messenger. And I'd play a good spurt of it, and yeah, it was good. There's a lot of areas to the game. It wasn't a short game by any means. It did take me a week to complete, and you go back and forth through the areas. There are some collectibles. I actually don't know what they do. I have purposely not looked it up to see what they do. I've only got a few more to go to see what it does. I'm kind of curious to see they're very hard to get, some of them. Oh, speaking of the collectibles, this game has some unwelcome slowdown in areas. I wouldn't even say slowdown. It's more of choppiness, especially it could be on the Switch, but I don't know how it is on the PC. But sometimes there's these spinning gears, and there's a lot going on the screen, and the game just kind of slows down so much. I can almost deal with the slow down, but it's kind of choppy. And I didn't care for that. And mostly in the sections, when you're trying to find these collectibles, these green little medallions or whatever. But that's like my only complaint is that choppiness. And again, I don't know if it does that on the PC or not. Actually, if someone has played it on the PC, if you could let me know if it has that, that'd be kind of a welcome thing to know if it does or not. But The Messenger, I would give this game, actually I would give it 5 out of 5. I've been ranting and raving to people that they need to play this. This is an indie game, and it's just a very welcome addition to my collection. It's something I've been missing. I love the Ninja Gaiden games. I quite often I would replay them. I have the original ones. I also have Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. I don't have any of the 3D Ninja Gaiden. I'm just talking about the NES ones. I love those games. They were hard, and I've played them to death. I've beaten them to death. And this was a nice welcome comeback to that. And I love the Metroidvania aspect to it. It, as I told one of my friends too, it kind of reminds me of like Ninja Gaiden meets Shovel Knight. So in terms of like graphical style. But I would wholeheartedly recommend that. And with that, good night and good gaming. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked that video, why not check out one of our other ones? Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed it. Until then, we'll see you next time.